Hey guys, thought I'd just do a quick video showing you how you can tell how much network usage that RuneScape's using. This seems to be a pretty common question that I've seen come up on the forums over the last few weeks, so I thought I would make a video on it and maybe those people will be able to find that information here instead of having to ask the question. So the RuneScape client, as you probably know, doesn't actually use very much bandwidth at all. It's extremely minimalistic considering, all the stuff going on in it, and probably compared to other games. I haven't really compared it against any other games, so I don't have any comparisons there. Maybe that's something I could do in the future. I guess we'll see. So it's important to keep in mind that the amount of bandwidth that RuneScape's using is going to depend on a few factors, primarily what you're doing in-game. The level of graphics settings that you're playing on can also contribute, and as well as how much content you already have cached. So for what you're doing in game, for example, if you're just sitting there alone and idling, not really doing anything, you can expect not to use as much bandwidth compared to if you're doing something else, like being in a crowded area like World 2 Grand Exchange, for instance, where there's a lot of people and a lot of actions going on and a lot of content you have to upload and download while performing certain actions, while people are talking, while people are moving everywhere. All that stuff, you need to pull down in over the network. So also the level of graphical settings you're using. If you're playing on higher quality, then there's going to be more content that you need to download and display, resulting in more bandwidth usage. And as for the content you already have cached, for instance, if you travel to a new area that you might not have been before, you probably notice that it'll take a bit longer to actually load that up, depending on your network speed and your computer and all that kind of stuff. But if you play and go to locations that you frequently visit, you'll probably notice that it works basically fine because of cache is just loading everything. So on my computer, I've checked my cache folder, I have about 1.3 gig of cache, so that's downloaded over time, and definitely that improves the experience because a lot of the content is cached on my local computer and I don't have to download that over the internet, so that saves bandwidth usage that way. But if you don't have that cache already built, you can expect to get an increase on what I'm going to be showing you. So for measuring bandwidth, at the moment I'm playing on Windows 8 here, so I'll just be showing you how you can check here. So there's other tools you can use, like other network monitoring tools, like of course the traditional Wireshark. Basically anything that's going to monitor network usage should be able to tell you this. But the good thing about Windows 8 is it's got this built-in straight in. I think it's also in Windows 7. I haven't actually checked, but I'm pretty sure it is. So as you may have noticed, I've got Task Manager running here, which shows all the stuff going on your computer, like CPU usage, memory, all that stuff, and as well as network usage. So to get more useful information, what you need to basically do is go into this here Open Resource Monitor, and what that'll do, it will open this window up here. So I had this running in the background, which I opened earlier, but basically what it does is it'll show you all the processes that you have currently running and the resources that they're using. So I've got the official RuneScape client running here, and this is called jagexlauncher.exe. So I've pre-selected that here so that we're only seeing the network activity for this one service. So you're not seeing anything else that's running on my computer. The connectivity over here, though, that refers to everything going on, and I do have some other things going on, like some chat programs and stuff in the background, so that's probably contributing a bit here. So don't take these graphs to be RuneScape specific. So the RuneScape specific data is basically here. So you can see I'm playing right now, and this is in bytes per second. And as you can see, this is an extremely small amount of bandwidth that's being used. So at the moment we're sending 56 bytes per second and we're receiving 547, which is it's a bit higher than what I've seen when previously playing, but it's still extremely low. So I've noticed I tend to be on about 200 while woodcutting ivy, but that's in a different spot. So I guess this really depends. Also probably depends what world you're on, how many other people are around. I'm also in a friends chat at the moment, and you know, I found that adds up as well. If I leave the friends chat, I've noticed the bandwidth actually drop a tiny bit, probably because it doesn't have to keep continually checking with, I guess, there's probably a chat server to see new messages, things like that. Basically, any extra functionality is going to add up and cause additional bandwidth usage. So, I guess in terms of downloads, this will change over time depending on what you're doing. But let's just say at the moment it's been around 500 bytes a second. So to work out how much you've been using per hour in terms of megabytes or gigabytes, it's just some simple math. So I found Google's actually really good at this, because you can just say X amount of bytes in megabytes and it'll tell you, so you don't have to bother doing any of the calculations yourself. So just open up Chrome here, and so 500 bytes per second. I've already looked this up before, so 500 bytes times 60, so that would give you the per minute, so how many bytes you're downloading per minute, and then times 60 again will give you how many you're doing per hour. So that equals this many bytes per hour. So then you can then go that many bytes in megabytes, and essentially 1.8 megabytes of download per hour, which is practically nothing. I mean, even if you're on a 3G connection, this is extremely insignificant, and you can lower that even further if you need to. Like, I'm playing on pretty high settings here. I found if you go on lower settings, it does lower a little bit, not by very much, but that said, we're already not using much anyway, so not much difference there. I'm more than happy to do 1.8 megabytes an hour. That's ridiculously low. And in regards to the 3G connection, a lot of people do ask, are they able to play over mobile internet services like 3G, 4G? And the answer is definitely yes, although it would depend on the quality of that connection, because they are mobile services. You're likely to get a higher level of ping, although personally I've played over 3G while being in a moving vehicle, and I was on the bus, and I had my laptop because I was studying, and I was actually doing what I'm doing now, woodcutting ivy, and over a 25-kilometer trip, didn't disconnect once, no lag, it was perfectly fine. Used no bandwidth, because obviously on most mobile internet plans you don't really get a great deal of bandwidth per month generally, or it costs a lot of money, which is of a concern to people. So it's good that it doesn't use much there, so you shouldn't have any problems assuming you're only doing RuneScape. I mean, 1.8 meg is nothing. A lot of websites you go to, you can easily load a web page and it's 2 meg plus. That's pretty commonplace. So this much in an hour, that's pretty good, I think. I don't think many people should be having problems with bandwidth. I mean, you could practically play on dial-up, and in theory it should still be okay. The other thing is the ping. That's another thing people seem to ask on the forums a lot is, oh, my ping has increased from like 50 to 60, please fix your servers, this is ridiculous. And I'm not sure these people really understand what that means. I mean, 10 milliseconds, for instance, this is on a thread that was up the other day, I'm not just making this up. 10 milliseconds isn't going to make really any difference practically. I mean, I play on UK worlds, and I'm in Australia here, and I get 300 milliseconds ping, and that isn't even noticeable to me. I always play on UK worlds because it's my clan world, and I don't have any problems whatsoever. Basically, you're not going to be able to improve that connection speed to the UK because the amount of distance that data has to travel over basically the other side of the world and back, it's never really going to get much faster just because of the limits of, you know, essentially the speed of light. That data transfer can't get any faster, and the network connection is stable, so I don't have any problems playing on 300 milliseconds ping. The world I'm on at the moment is actually in New Zealand, which is close to me, so I get 6 milliseconds ping, which I suppose is a lot better, but comparing that to the other worlds, I don't notice any practical difference, like clicking around or walking, going to places. I guess it might make a slight difference, say if you're doing something like PvP, where you need to, you need to be on you need the edge, you gotta get as much benefit as you can, I suppose, over your opponent, but yeah, for general use, any world for me is basically fine, and none of them tend to be over 300 milliseconds. Although that's on my connection here at home over 3G, probably be a bit higher because, you know, there'll be more latency there, but still I haven't had any problems personally. So yeah, I hope this video helps you have a look at how much network usage you're actually using for RuneScape. You can obviously use Resource Monitor to look at other things you have running on your computer as well, see what's actually using that bandwidth, and chances are you probably find that it's not RuneScape, and if there is, well, I guess things to check for would be, have you played on this computer before? Have you been to this area before? Is this content cached, or are you going to be downloading it? If it's not cached, you might use a bit more initially, but it slows down. I've also found logging out and logging in generates a bit of a spike. I guess I can show you that now. So I'll just exit to the lobby here. So when you log out, I think it uploads a bunch of data. Probably, yeah, here we go. Yeah, bit of up and down. So that doesn't last very long. And it's not even a big increase. Even that, it's only like 2 to 3 times higher than what we were seeing, and it's only temporary, so basically nothing. So log back in. Yeah, it's a little bit of a spike there. Still not very much when it comes to it, and that's going to disappear pretty shortly anyway once everything's loaded up. So yeah, already starting to lower. I found it uses the most when I actually open the client to load it up, probably because it's checking for updates and that kind of thing, but yeah, still extremely minimal. So yeah, I guess that's it. If you got any questions, let me know, and I'll do my best to help.